SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.
Discover the Copiah Advantage. Copiah County is a Mid-South gem with a spirit of opportunity, a business-friendly environment, and access to major transportation networks. Copiah County, let's do business. Visit CopiahWorks.com today and discover the Copiah Advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive.
Hello and good morning. Thanks for joining us. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. Glad to have you along for the start of a new day in the middle of a week. We are a little bit closer to the end of the month of August. Today is the 20th of August. We're 10 days away from the start of the college football season. Is that right? 30? Yeah, I think that's right. 30 minus 20, that equals 10. If my math is mathing this morning. And you've actually got college football this weekend if you want it. It'll be a game that's being played in Ireland, which also means if you are a college football fan and you intend to kind of lock in on college football in the coming weeks, you have this weekend left to finish that to-do list of things that you've been meaning to get done all summer long. Will East is in the studio in place of Lance. Lance is off this week. Glad to have Will back for yet another day. Will and I both enjoy you connecting with us on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Looking for game-changing technology? Then you need C Spire on your team. 5G fiber, 5G wireless, fiber home internet, and business IT solutions built as tough as your defense. Learn more at cspire.com. C Spire, inspired by you. Good morning, Will.
Hola, how are you?
All right, so day 3 of the getting up early and working the early shift. Now, you don't really get to just shut it down after the show's over. How you hanging in there?
Today's been the best day so far.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't do like I did yesterday morning and pour a whole cup of half and half with a little bit of coffee.
The coffee is helping.
The coffee is working, so yeah, today's been the best day so far.
Outstanding.
Usually Tuesday's the worst. So.
And you said early yesterday morning you were still in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I think I'm getting older, so I naturally wake. You know, when you get older, you wake up earlier anyway. I don't sleep in like I did when I was a teenager, obviously. None of us do. So I think
that cycle incredible to watch? And I know you don't have little ones at home yourself, but I mean, you go from, like, it's Saturday, would you please sleep past 6:15? Like, I'm not asking for 10 o'clock. Like, just give me 6:45. And then you get to the point where it's Saturday and you're like, I mean, are they going to get up? It's 10:30. Like, there's a lot of day that they're missing out on right now. And then I guess we circle back to the get up and get rolling.
Yeah, my wife is a morning person, so like Saturday morning, for example, she'll get up super early. Yeah. And I'm thinking, and she'll be like, I'll let you sleep in tomorrow. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I'm going to sleep in until 9:30. Nice 7:30, I'm up and moving. It's like,
yeah.
Can't do it
But
anymore.
I've gotten to the point where 7:30 feels like I got to really sleep in.
Yeah.
It feels like it was a win.
Slept all morning, got up at 7:45.
Yeah. Coffeeville, you've got partly cloudy skies this morning, followed by scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon. 94 for the high today, so not quite as hot as it has been. With winds out of the north at 5 to 10 miles per hour and a chance of rain at 40%. I said Coffeeville. Some prefer Colville.
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 I always found it funny that it's right next to Water Valley. Coffeeville is right next to Water Valley.
Yes. I feel like you gave great enunciation there of Coffeeville and Water Valley.
Water Valley.
Yeah. Yellowbush County. Great memories in that part of the state of Mississippi. Ackerman, you're coming in partly cloudy this morning with some scattered thunderstorms this afternoon. Same forecast as Colville. 94 degrees, winds out of the north at 5 to 10. Partial cloudiness early in Natchez with scattered showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon, high around 95. Chance of rain in Natchez today, 50%. Poplarville, generally sunny for you, despite a few afternoon clouds. Stray shower possible. 97 for the high temperature today in Poplarville. I wonder if there's any humidity that will go along with that. Think there's a chance?
I feel sorry for the Hornets right now of Poplarville who are out there practicing.
Ooh.
And they play that old school triple option. Them big boys.
Those big boys are leaning on each other a little bit, aren't they?
Leaning on each other.
Oh, me. East Coast going to get some weather, some storm surge, but it does not appear as if this hurricane that has been floating around out in the Atlantic is going to have a significant impact, as it's going to turn back to the northeast and kind of skirt up the eastern seaboard and out into the northern Atlantic. Erin, her name is, and there's some concern about high surf and rip current for virtually the entire East Coast, but other than that, not going to be so bad. So far, so good in hurricane season. Long way to go. We are 9 days away from the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. 25-year anniversary? Is that right?
It would be, or 20.
20-year.
20-year.
Sorry, I was off there. Yeah. 20-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. 2005, August 2005, made landfall on early in the morning on August 29th of 2005. C-Spire text line for you, 601-879-4395. Just a homework assignment in terms of, like for you to be thinking about this. No essay that you have to write here. Next week, we'll spend some time talking about the anniversary of Katrina. Talking with some people who are very involved with it and the recovery efforts and the preparation for it, the forecasting of it. Those of you on the coast who were affected by it, those farther north, perhaps those who permanently relocated post-Katrina. And we're going to talk about some of those things. And I would love for you to be thinking about a story that you might like to share. You can send to us on the C-Spire text line, or I can give you an email address that you can send it to, or whatever. We would love to hear those stories, and we would love to share those stories as we remember Katrina 20 years later here in the Magnolia State. I would say one of the least known presidents, Benjamin Harrison.
Yeah, he's one that nobody remembers.
The North Bend, Ohio native, 23rd president of the United States, served as a Republican from 1889 until 1893. He was born on this day in 1833. 1931, Don King was born. Do you know that name? You recognize that name?
Man.
The American boxing promoter, best known for his association with Mike Tyson and for his unusual hairstyles. Born in Cleveland, Ohio. Do you think he came out of the womb with that hair sticking straight up?
I tell you, he's still alive. 94.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he murdered 2 people.
I was just going to say, don't you think that probably most of the money that he's made has been legitimate?
Nobody dealing with him ever came out for the better, okay? Except for Don King.
Robert Plant, 76 years old in 1948. The British rock vocalist was born in West Bromwich, England. I'm assuming that the W is silent there.
Sure.
Little song called Stairway to Heaven. Perhaps you've heard of it.
Stairway to Heaven. He's been in Mississippi quite a bit. He loves the blues. Has played at Ground Zero several times. He's done it unannounced several times. He just shows up.
That's when you know they really love it.
Yeah.
I don't need you to write a story. I don't need my picture in the paper. I don't need a video camera in my face.
Don't need the PR people working on it.
I just want to listen to Super Chicken, okay?
Yep.
Just let me be. Just let me
Play
be.
that box,
Al Roker, born on this day in 1954. That's what's happening around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods. The longtime weatherman with NBC and the Today Show, born in Queens, New York. Amy Adams is 50 today. American actress, born in 1974. Films like Junebug, Enchanted, Julia and Julia, American Hustle, Big Eyes. She was born in Vicenza, Italy.
Really?
I have actually been to Vicenza.
Really?
And it is one of the most beautiful cities I have ever seen in my life.
I bet.
Just the architecture, the hills, the mountains, the Alps off in the distance. Just spectacular. And the home of Amy Adams, apparently. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. Just getting started with you. Hit us up, C-Spire text line, 601-879-4395. We're back after this.
From the
Mornings with Richard Cross.
The monitor switch lets you hear
breaking news.
Super Talk Mississippi.
Good morning, baby. Baby, welcome back to town. Oh, good morning, baby.
601-879-4395. Shaq Bully said, I didn't need Don King coming out of the womb as a mental image this morning. My apologies to you for that. My apologies. Hey, I'm running a little late this morning, but it means I get to listen to some of the show, so that is okay. That is outstanding news. I do hope that you don't get into any trouble for running late this morning. Hope all is well on that front. Good morning, Richard. Huey from Hamilton. It's been 50 years since Camille hit the coast. Was it? What? It wasn't in the last couple of days that we hit the anniversary of Camille, or was it earlier in?
It was a few days ago, right?
Yeah, because we talked about it in a meeting, August 14th. Landfall was August 14th, I think. They give a long window as the date for Camille. No, it formed on August 14th, dissipated on the 22nd. Landfall, there are those of you who have that etched in your memory, and you don't even have to look it up. I'll let you, here you go. August 16th, 1969. That comes to us on the C-Spire text line.
I remember Paul always remembered it because that was his wedding anniversary.
Really?
He got married during Camille, yeah.
On the actual day of?
I think it was like the day of.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Not just the date.
I remember him telling me. In fact, I think I was sitting in here one anniversary for it. It may have been, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. He said, yeah, I got married during Camille.
We've got some things that happened on this day in history, including the great Russian composer Fyodor Ilyich Tchaikovsky.
Oh, that's it.
In Moscow in 1882, he debuted the 1812 Overture. Man, it's the longest build-up just to get to the payoff late in the show, or in the song. Here it comes, the big one. I'll just let it play in the background for a second. We might even move on. Isn't it amazing how this gets played on the 4th of July in the United States? This is the song for fireworks by Russian composer Tchaikovsky. Oh, man. You got bands that play it at football games.
Yeah.
Arkansas does the 1812 Overture really well with their band. And then they've got like a little dance, like they're riding the back of a hog in the stands. There it is. Fire those fireworks.
You hear this one everywhere.
Boom! Boom! There it is. I mean, when you get the fireworks exploding in sync with the big bangs of the drums and the cymbal from the full orchestra, I mean, there are few songs that stir the patriotism quite like the 1812 Overture. And then you're reminded that it was written by a commie.
Well, all right. He wasn't a commie, was he?
Well, not in 1882, I suppose.
No, I doubt.
It was just the good old motherland
Ruski,
back then.
A Ruski.
A Ruski. In 1920, American Professional Football Association formed with Jim Thorpe as its president and later became the National Football League. You know, when you talk about greatest athletes of all time, there's like a recency bias that goes to, Bo Jackson. Walter Payton. And those are very reasonable answers.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's like that I've ever seen. Any conversation about greatest athlete of all time that does not include Jim Thorpe is a non-starter for me. I mean, his feats on the football field and in track and field, just remarkable. And
he won a gold medal like wearing mismatched shoes or something like that. You think about that now, you know how incredible that is. And the fact that we kind of remember, and he was before TV, which tells you how big he was. Mm-hmm. But then he died in obscurity almost. Yeah. You know, he went off and became an actor for a little bit, but then, kind of died in his obscurity. It's a pretty amazing story. There's a really good movie about him. I can't remember the actor. That came out, I think, in the late 70s. It was on Netflix for a little while. I remember watching it a few years ago. But, yeah, incredible story.
Yeah. We would like to say thank you to our friends in Detroit, Michigan. On this day in 1920, the first U.S. commercial radio station was launched, paving the way. They crawled so that we could walk or maybe even run. WWJ in Detroit began daily broadcasting over 100 years ago.
WWJ. You know what the first commercial on radio ever was?
23andme.com.
No. Close. I think it was in New York, and it was a 12-minute long real estate ad. It was 12 minutes long. And they sold it. And that was the first commercial. Was 12 minutes long. So you complain about commercial lengths now. It's gotten much better.
You go into a sales meeting, what's your spot rate? How long do you want to go? We got this 12-minute option here. You can take a look at that one if you would like to mortgage your home. 1940, we got one of the most famous quotes from World War II when British Prime Minister Winston Churchill says of the Royal Air Force, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few."
I thought you were going to do the Winston Churchill voice.
I thought about it, but I feel like I need a cigar. I need to chew on a cigar. And never in the field of human conflict. That's probably the best I got this morning. 1965, Rolling Stones released their single "I Can't Get No Satisfaction," which was their first #1 hit in the U.S. and in the U.K. Or they released it in the U.K. It turned into the #1 hit in the U.S. That was 4 years before Katrina. If we're just making it full circle here.
You mean Camille?
Camille, yes.
Yeah, and that was a cover. Most of their early songs were covers. And that band is amazing. The greatest rock and roll band of all time is not even really close, in my opinion, to the fact that they're still going today. They're still going.
Mm-hmm. Like And well.
And
they still sound good, and it's still high energy and all of the things. I missed this one. 1938, Yankees and future Baseball Hall of Fame first baseman Lou Gehrig hit his 23rd and final career grand slam on this day in 1938. 23 of them.
Wow.
A couple of other baseball notes for you. 1974. To think about how far we've come in Major League Baseball, this was an all-time record when Nolan Ryan threw a 100.4 mile per hour baseball in 1974. There were teams in college baseball that had half a dozen guys that threw in triple digits this past season. In college baseball.
That's amazing.
Another guy that's pretty good on the mound, Dwight Gooden. He struck out 16 on his way to a 13th consecutive victory in that historic 1985 season. And speaking of historic, Dan Marino surpassed Joe Montana in terms of salary, highest paid NFL player. This was in 1991 when he signed a 5-year extension with the Dolphins for $25 million. Not $25 million a year, $25 million total. That was in 1991.
What is that, a yearly deal now for a good quarterback? 25?
Times 2.5. Like 50, 55 million, 60 million.
I quit keeping up with it.
It's like you can't even make the numbers make sense. And finally, for a sports headline here for you, this is a good one. Our sports headlines brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Find them online at pearlriverresort.com. They've got the Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, 2 18-hole championship courses, the Oaks and the Azaleas. Book your tee time online at dancingrabbitgolf.com. Dancing Rabbit, part of Pearl River Resort. Do you remember the 2000 PGA Championship? It was played in Louisville, Kentucky at Valhalla. Don't think anybody got arrested that year, at least not any of the golfers. Tiger Woods won his second consecutive PGA Championship after a 3-hole playoff with Bob May, who kind of looked like an accountant. Remember the pictures of that? It was sun setting. It was dark. In fact, it was darker there in person than it even looked like on television. He was the first, Tiger Woods was, to win 3 majors in a calendar year since Ben Hogan in 1953. Set the stage for that career grand slam with the 2001 victory at Augusta. Those are your sports headlines brought to you by Pearl River Resort.
From the Seabrook Bank. Mornings with Richard Cross.
Let's get on with the show.
Check it out. Super Talk Mississippi.
Well, it's cloudy in the morning. Gonna be raining in the afternoon. Cloudy in the morning. It's gonna be raining.
You know, I appreciate your musical taste and the variation, and I rarely step, but I forgot to tell you about something.
What?
Wednesday is Country Music Wednesdays.
Oh, no, it's not.
Well, but I mean, that has kind of become our thing.
Yeah.
It may not be today. I'm not telling you what to play or not play, but that's
Willie Nelson. That counts, I guess.
Yes. That is what kind of got me thinking about that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm playing Tchaikovsky earlier. I hadn't really paid attention to what Will's playing.
We're talking about the Rolling Stones.
Just a reminder that 90s country has kind of been the thing on Wednesday mornings. So just as you see fit.
I'm going to tell you, there's few genres I love more than 90s country. 90s country was where it was at.
First 90s country song pops in your head. Go.
Joe Diffie, John Deere Green is probably my favorite.
Okay.
Which is kind of
it's funny. I just said 90s country, and immediately I heard in my head, prop me up beside the juke. Oh, Joe Diffie, rest his soul.
Joe Diffie, yeah. But not, I mean, you had, Garth Brooks, obviously, George Strait kind of hitting.
Brooks and Dunn.
Brooks and Dunn, who's awesome. I saw them in concert about a year ago.
Did you? Were they still great?
Yeah, they were very entertaining. Very entertaining. And, that's one of those groups that's got more hits than you think.
Ooh.
You think about.
Oh, man, you start looking at their catalog.
Yeah. I mean, you got Boot Scootin' Boogie, Neon
Moon.
You know, it's just like Red Dirt Road. You know, it just keeps going and going and going. Yeah, they were really awesome. But yeah, 90s country. My wife listens to a lot of 90s country, and you just forget how many really great artists there were.
You know, I wonder sometimes how young people these days, I'd be 126 years old sounding when I say that. I know that our kids are influenced and younger people are influenced by what the older people around them listen to, but they also develop their own style. It is amazing to me how many 90s country songs my kids know almost all the words to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if my daughter gets in the car, she hits one of two stations. If it's not on SuperTalk, which she doesn't always pick that. If we're in a car with satellite radio, she either goes to the highway or Prime Country. And Prime Country is nothing but 90s.
Yeah.
And it just knows a million of them.
Yeah, and there was a lot of one-hit wonders almost. Dust on the Bottle, you know, just songs
Old
that are
Creole
just,
Williams.
Yeah, songs that are just very, very good by artists who maybe had one that was their hit. And it's good for the songs are just so good that they stand up on their own. You don't have to have some sort of connection to them. You don't even really have to like country music. I'm not the biggest country music guy. I used to be really big into country music. But I still love these songs. I don't like newer country like a lot of people my age, I'm finding.
Yeah.
But I still cling to the 90s stuff.
Some of the new stuff's really good. Some of it. Now, you may or may not be a Morgan Wallen fan, or you may or may not like Kelsey Ballerini.
I will say this, it's catchy. It is very catchy.
But there's some good, like Red Clay Strays. Oh, like really good. There's a lot of good stuff. I was looking at this, it's one of the greatest hits for Brooks and Dunn, number ones and then some. Brand New Man.
Brand New Man, yeah.
She's Not the Cheating Kind. Rock My World, Little Country Girl, Red Dirt Road. You mentioned that one a second away. You're going to miss me when I'm gone.
See, there's more than you think with
Boot
Brooks and
Scootin'
Dunn.
Boogie. Play Something Country. Little Miss Honky Tonk. We'll burn that bridge when we get there. Only in America.
Only in America. Yeah.
Neon Moon, My Maria. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Thomas in Greenwood says 90s country wasn't country. Absolutely no twang. You long for 60s and 70s country? It's okay. Officials from academia, state, and local government and the U.S. military gathered on the Gulf Coast yesterday to break ground on the new Mississippi Cyber and Technology Center. Leaders from Mississippi State, the U.S. Air Force, the city of Biloxi, Governor Tate Reeves were all on site at the 100,000-square-foot facility under construction adjacent to Keesler Air Force Base. The center is going to serve as the headquarters for the Mississippi Cyber Initiative, building upon a shared vision to enhance cybersecurity capabilities and collaboration across state, federal, academic, and industry sectors. It will include the Cyber Initiative Central Offices, an event center, Air Force training spaces, and secure offices for private industry partners. Funding for the project made possible by the state legislature and then private donations from Mississippi Power and Southern Company. Since the launch in 2021, the initiative has grown its unique partnerships, establishing a digital forensics lab that supports more than 50 law enforcement partners, hosting cyber exercises through its internal cyber ecosystem, offering K-12 outreach to try and develop future cybersecurity leaders, and convening quarterly summits for stakeholders. Sid Salter is going to join us a little bit later this morning as Mississippi State has kicked off its new school year. We'll talk a little bit more about this project with Sid coming up this morning in the 8 o'clock hour. Somebody says, Richard, Red Clay Strays are not country. They're great, but they're not country. I would beg to differ. But that's okay. Leslie in Grenada says Zach Top is about the best new artist out there. Some of his songs are like 80s and 90s country. He is really good. Somebody said, I'm 73 and I cut my teeth on hard rock. With regard to the twang, somebody said, I beg to differ. Dwight Yoakam Plenty twangy.
Yeah.
Larry and Mize, does Thomas agree with anything? Not really. Not really. That's okay.
But we love Thomas because Thomas is always listening.
We appreciate the interaction and we appreciate the loyalty from Thomas. A Mississippi law banning public schools from promoting or participating in DEI activities on campus has once again been put on hold. United States federal judge Harry Wingate on Monday of this week issued a preliminary injunction extending a temporary restraining order. So you got a preliminary injunction that extended a TRO on House Bill 1193. The judge is blocking the bill from going into effect until a final ruling can be reached on the matter. If you remember, the measure aimed at eliminating DEI programs. It was passed by the state legislature, signed into law by Governor Tate Reeves in April. It specifically outlaws the practice of using DEI to hire new employees and teach courses at all public schools, including K through 12 education centers, junior colleges, and universities that receive taxpayer funding. Also requires local school districts, along with higher ed, to adopt policies and procedures to investigate any possible violations of the regulations on DEI. Institutions found in violation could risk funding their public funding, could risk forfeiting their public funding. Not long after the bill was passed, it was challenged by a lawsuit filed by the ACLU of Mississippi on behalf of teachers, parents, and students. Wingate, the judge who approved a motion for a temporary restraining order to block the bill back in July, has maintained a stance that the legislation conflicts with both the First and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution. More to come on that one. Speaking of judges, a federal judge has ordered Mississippi to redraw. This is a big story. Big story. We know what's going on in Texas. We know what's happening in California. Now Mississippi's in the mix. Got to redraw its Supreme Court electoral map after finding that the map dilutes the power of black voters. District Judge Sharon Aycock, she's in the Northern District, I think in Aberdeen. The Voting Rights Act, which was enacted in 1987, is what put the current Supreme Court lines in place, and she says it cannot be used in future elections. Again, the ACLU of Mississippi helped litigate the lawsuit, arguing that the map cut Mississippi's Delta region, historically black, in half. Ari Savitsky, a senior staff attorney at the ACLU Voting Rights Project, said the win corrects a historic injustice. All Mississippians will benefit from fair district lines that give black voters an equal voice and new generations of black leaders an equal chance to help shape the state's future by serving on Mississippi's highest court. Lawsuit was originally filed in April of 2022. It argued the map diminished the black vote in the Central District of Mississippi. Aycock's ruling notes that only 4 black people have served on the Mississippi Supreme Court, all of them holding the same seat out of the Central District. And all of them were first appointed to the position by a sitting governor. Aycock is putting a deadline in place that has not yet been announced for the Mississippi legislature to create a new map. Well, there's a new topic for the legislative session for 2026. Friends, that's a big one. That is a big one. More investment into Mississippi, $6 billion project coming to Rankin County. We'll tell you about that. And the story of the Batesville woman that tried to build the bomb and detonated it in Lafayette County takes a twist. We'll give you an update there. We got a Mississippi lottery update. We got some sports headlines and more. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi. Kicks. Ronnie, take us to the break, will you?
Get down, turn around, go to town, boot, scoot,
From the Venable Glass.
He's got everything you need to know to start your day. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, supertalk.fm, and the SuperTalk Mississippi app. Now, here's more with Richard Cross.
Welcome again. It is Mornings with Richard Cross. C-Spire text line is open to you at 601-879-4395. Big jackpot coming tonight with the Mississippi Lottery. Find all the updates that you need online at mslottery.com. The estimated jackpot for tonight's drawing is $643 million with an estimated cash value of $290,600,000. So a big number there. Also no winner last night with Mega Millions. Next drawing coming up on Friday, $234 million. Cash value for that one now over $100. So you've got a 9-digit estimated cash value at $105,100. Mississippi players have been on a Powerball hot streak lately. 5 players, each winning $50,000 in the last month alone. 4 of the 5 multiplied their winnings with the $1 Power Play option. Powerball tickets, just $2. Don't miss your chance. Get your ticket for tonight's 9:30 p.m. drawing at your local Mississippi Lottery retailers. Quickly, a couple of winners for you on scratch-off games. A cash 4 scratch-off. Utica woman won $10,000 on a pair of tickets from Circle K and Byram. A Carthage player won $150,000 on a Powerball scratch-off from Carthage Junction in Carthage. And a Columbus man won $2,000 on a ticket from Sprint Mart in Columbus. That was on a $10 triple red, triple sevens scratch-off that he bought at his local lottery retailer. What's your biggest lottery win ever?
I won another ticket, I think.
There you go.
That's it.
I got my $12. I have not cashed it in yesterday. I got to remember to do that. I'll take it and cash my $12 and get 6 Powerball tickets for tonight.
What we usually do is we're going on a little trip this weekend, so what we usually do is we buy a few tickets for the road.
And
sometimes if we're going to visit friends or something like our family, we'll buy tickets for them as well.
Oh, that's the thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, this might be worth something, or it might be worth nothing. Appreciate you having us.
Either way, split it with me.
Yeah. Some of your reactions to those 2 lawsuit stories. Mike in Corinth, is that not basically DEI as well? Anytime the lines are moved, someone is disenfranchised. Larry in Mize goes a different direction. He says, we need a lawsuit to stop ESPN from making DEI hires. Why? Why does any map have to be drawn based on anyone's skin color? Just draw a map based on how many people live in a given area. Well, the why to that is district lines are supposed to be drawn so that they are representative of the population in a given district. Which is, to me, still the fascinating. I think this part of the story in Texas has been so undertold and undersold. When we got the news from Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, a couple of weeks ago, where they said 4 of the 5 districts that are being redrawn in the state of Texas are majority Hispanic. That story got 0 traction. I don't understand why. It certainly doesn't fit the narrative that Democrats want to tell. Oh, this is racist. Oh, it violates the Voting Rights Act. Oh, we got to redraw California to balance it out. 4 of the 5 are majority Hispanic. They are majority minority, which feels like in and of itself is actually redrawing the districts in a more proper way. Now, the reason that Trump wants it done is because he believes those are going to turn into solid Republican seats that are currently Democrat seats. Like, we get that. But does that strike you at all as, wait, what? I mean, you just assumed, I think, that Texas, they're just going to redraw lines so that they can win more seats, and that's going to be, they went to heavily white population centers to do that. It's just not the case. But yes, your comments about, hold on a second, got to get rid of the DEI programs that the legislature put into law, and then we got to redraw the districts so that there's more black power in the vote for the Central District. And then somebody said, why does nobody ever talk about the way the line is drawn for Benny Thompson, District 2? If you look at the map for that, I mean, without Hinds County, I don't know that Benny Thompson has the stranglehold on that particular seat that he's got. And yet it's the Mississippi Delta, and then whoop, let's go over here to the east. Let's make it up and go around this creek and around this river and over to this city line, and we'll loop this precinct in and then bring it back over to the Delta and work south. I mean, it is absolutely drawn so that a Democrat can win that district. That's why you got 4 or 5 Republican districts in Mississippi, and that one is solidly Democrat. Nobody's ever going to be happy with district lines. I think we probably know that. 7 o'clock hour is on the way. We got Super Talk News, we got Fox News, and then we're back with you with a whole lot more. Alongside Will East, I'm Richard Cross. This is Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Reaching across the state and across the aisle. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
Trio Williams.
Good morning to you, David Lee Murphy, and good morning to you across the state of Mississippi and beyond. You've got it locked in on Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi. Whether you're listening on the Super Talk app, perhaps streaming on Super Talk TV, or you've got it queued up to your local Super Talk Mississippi radio station, we appreciate you joining us. Got a lot to get to this morning, including in about 15 minutes, a conversation with Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith. A lot to get into with Senator Hyde-Smith, including we'll talk with her about the meeting that the president had with Zelensky and European leaders, European Union leaders. The new Amtrak route on the Gulf Coast. I think she was there for the launch of the Mardi Gras line earlier this week. What's coming up for the Senate when they come back from the August recess? And we're going to ask Cindy Hyde-Smith about recess appointments and why it is that both the House and the Senate were so set on not paving the way for the president to get some of those appointments done. Look forward to that conversation coming up in just a little while. Will and I talked a lot in the first hour, and so we didn't get to any sports headlines for you. I just got a couple that might grab your attention. And then we'll talk about that new economic investment that's coming to Rankin County. Rory McIlroy won at Augusta this past April. And he got a big check. And he immediately spent some of his money on what, you might ask? Well, at least in part, he stopped by the Masters gift shop. It's legendary. It's not fair to call it a shop anymore. It's like the Masters Mall at Augusta. The line is massive to get in. The selection is overwhelming. But there was one specific thing that Rory McIlroy was looking for. He asked about pin flags. You know, the yellow flags like you see on top of the pins on all 18 holes on the course. They sell those. Great souvenir. People frame them. Sometimes they get autographs on them. Rory McIlroy found out that the Masters shop had about 1,100 remaining pin flags as souvenirs. And he took all 1,100 of them, bought them all. Rory McIlroy, about the flags that he assigned, says, it's been a lot, but I'll never get sick of signing them. I've waited 17 years to sign that flag in the middle, and I will never complain about doing it. Tradition says that, you know, the Masters logo is the outline of the United States with the flag coming out of it. People autograph Masters flags all over the flag, but only Masters champions are supposed to sign inside the outline of the United States. And so Rory can finally sign in that particular spot. And he has put a bunch of memorabilia out there. It's been over 4 months since McIlroy delivered that exhilarating end to his 17-year pursuit of winning the green jacket, made a birdie on the first playoff hole to beat Justin Rose. He hasn't won since then and has said that has had a little trouble finding motivation. Still a pretty good year for the Masters champ, and he's getting set to head to Atlanta for the Tour Championship coming up this weekend. It is rare that the Manning family is not exactly on the same page. There is little that comes out of Camp Manning or Team Manning where everybody is not marching to the exact same beat of the exact same drum. Earlier this week, though, perhaps a small example. Arch Manning had media availability at Texas's camp on Monday and had to clear up some comments made by his grandfather. Former Ole Miss and New Orleans Saints quarterback Archie Manning told Texas Monthly that NFL teams shouldn't hold their breath to see his grandson in the draft next April. But Arch says that that's not a decision that he has made yet. Arch was asked about it, and he said, "Yeah, I don't know where he got that from." He texted me and apologized about that. I'm really just taking it day by day right now. ESPN reached out to Archie Manning, and he said that the comment that he made was, quote, unquote, an assumption, and went on to say, "I thought that the thing that I said was that to name Arch to postseason awards and start placing him in the NFL draft was ridiculous when he hadn't played." Then, of course, the fact that I said he might be at Texas, that's just an assumption on my part. Arch and I have a really good grandson-grandfather relationship, but I haven't been part of this football journey. Maybe Archie's been more a part of the football journey than some would believe. Arch has talked a lot about the fact that he and Archie talk before every game and on a very regular basis. Anyway, Arch's tenure as Texas starter kicks off with a bang at the end of the month. Depending on which polls you use, a top 2 or top 3 matchup with Ohio State. On the road, it's a rematch of last season's college football playoff semifinal in which the Buckeyes were victorious. Reminder, your sports updates are brought to you every single morning by Pearl River Resort. Find them online at pearlriverresort.com. Avio Digital is coming to Mississippi. Interesting company. The data center revolution in Mississippi rolls on, this time in Rankin County. Governor Tate Reeves announced yesterday that Avio Digital, that's spelled A-V-A-I-O, and I am confident that I am pronouncing it correctly because I went on a deep dive to find video of somebody in that company actually saying the name of the company and finally got to their CEO and he said Avio. So Avio Digital is investing $6 billion into a data center in Brandon. The Connecticut-based developer and operator of sustainable data centers has announced the new $6 billion data center campus at the East Metropolitan Center Business and Industrial Park. Avio's economic development investment is the third largest in the history of Mississippi, just behind Amazon and Compass. The company's new Brandon data center campus, named Avio Digital Taurus, like the old Ford car, will provide new workforce development opportunities in the state and going to offer a variety of jobs for the Jackson metro area workforce. 60 of those, give or take, are supposed to be high-tech jobs direct with the company. Hundreds of indirect jobs tied to construction and other related industries. The governor said this yesterday: this project will not only transform Rankin County and the Metro Jackson region, it will transform our economic landscape and lead to even more high-tech leaders choosing Mississippi. We are competing and winning on the global stage, and our state is open for business and ready to lead. The Mississippi momentum is strong. And this is our time. Specifically, this campus will feature high-speed, low-latency connectivity options, including direct access to multiple long-haul fiber routes nearby that link seamlessly to major data center hubs such as Dallas and Atlanta. That's one of the reasons that central Mississippi is such an attractive target for these data centers that are coming in. Because you might say, hey, could we put a data center in Corinth? Hey, could we put a data center in Rolling Fork or Woodville or wherever? But the proximity to these major fiber hubs, if you've ever seen a fiber line like the one going into your house, right? If you've got C-Spire fiber to the home internet, you know that fiber line is not much bigger. Well, the fiber itself is actually smaller than fishing line. But if you look at the actual, like including the outside covering, you ever run a weed eater? Like a heavy duty weed eater that's got the woven wind or the twisted line that's supposed to be, heavier duty. That's about the size. The 0.95 size, that's about the size of a fiber line that goes into your house. But these bundles, these the hubs that connect Dallas and Atlanta and maybe on over to the eastern seaboard and even farther west, those are more like bundles of fiber, and they allow for massive amounts of data and information to flow through them. And central Mississippi, the Jackson metro area in particular, is kind of right there in that I-20 corridor where you have those bundles in place. And so it makes it a really attractive spot. So you've got the $10+ billion investment from Amazon and now $6 billion from Avio. MDA approved Avio Digital Taurus for the state's data center enterprises tax exemption. State agency also offered financial assistance via the site development grant to help develop that industrial complex. Rich in Biloxi says that fiber optic glass and plastic sizes are measured in micrometers. It's a fancy word for really, really small. But with a big punch. Cindy Hyde-Smith will join us on the other side of this timeout. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
From the Venable Glass.
Mornings with Richard Cross. What's up?
Let's get the show going.
Super Talk Mississippi.
Sun coming up over New York City.
That's a good one, Will. Again, welcome. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi. Glad to be with you. Middle of the week. Getting late into the month of August, which means we are moving toward the end of the Senate recess and the House recess, and all of our legislators will be back in Washington, D.C. for the stretch run of the calendar year. One of those legislators is Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith, who has been able to spend some time in the home state as of late. Good morning, Senator. Thank you so much for your time.
Good morning. Great to be with you. Great to be in Mississippi.
I know it is always good to be home, and does it feel like a little bit of a cleansing almost when you're able to get to come home and spend a few weeks and visit with some of your constituents, some of your voters, and be back here before kind of returning to Washington and the grind of the session?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt it is, and I have been covering the state. I'm headed to South Haven tonight, be in Jackson today. I think I've been on the Gulf Coast twice this week. Canton, been to Georgetown for Mercy House tour, you name it. And of course, Amtrak Mardi Gras service initial run. So we've had a lot of time to spend out with constituents and listen and get feedback, and continuing to do it until we go back on September the 2nd.
I was going to ask you about the Amtrak Mardi Gras service. I think you were there earlier this week for the launch of that. That's something that people on the Gulf Coast are excited about, and it's been a long time in the making. That service went away, I guess, post-Katrina, and now to finally have it back, it's a pretty neat accomplishment and something that a lot of people are excited about.
It It really was, going through there and stopping at the different stops, especially in Gulfport. I mean, they had the high school band, the cheerleaders there. There were so many people out there for the passenger rail. And, it's going to be so convenient that you can get on in Gulfport, Biloxi, Bay St. Louis, and go over to New Orleans or go to Mobile. And they're hoping, it was a lot of the chatter that I thought was really interesting, was it's got to align with the Saints games, that we can take the train over, go to the game, and come back. But I don't know about the schedule on that and the timing. But it is exciting that it's so affordable. I mean, it's very inexpensive to do that. Some of the routes are like $7 that you can take, unless you do the full route. But it is exciting, and I think that the tourism, the bringing folks into the Gulf Coast for the day, I think it's going to be a major enhancement. And, oh, my goodness, what a beautiful train. A brand new, beautiful train. So lots of excitement down there on that.
While we're talking about Amtrak, but specifically coastal Mississippi, the Gulf Coast region, let's just touch on some of the things that are happening on the coast. My colleague Ricky Matthews has talked a lot about a business alliance between the three coastal counties to really be able to kind of leverage the power of the coast that in some ways is untapped. But in terms of investment, of business growth, of economic development, there's a lot that's happening there, and a lot of it is tied to the military with some incredible growth that's happening in shipbuilding and other areas.
You're exactly right, and we refer to a lot of that as the blue economy. And there's so much research that's being done there. There's so much manufacturing being done and with ships, with fleets that, the new businesses that have relocated there. We have one from San Francisco that came, and they're doing underwater drones. So it's a lot going on down there. And, of course, such a military presence. When you drive down the Gulf Coast, you really understand how important the federal government is to that area down there. And we have tons of meetings all the time for the supervisors, as we call it, the lower 6 counties that come in with so many different needs. But it's enhanced and it's growing, and we've got a lot to capitalize on there for continued growth. So pretty excited about there. We've got some really good leaders, and they do work together. And, we had a pretty contentious mayor's race down there.
We did.
We've always had great leadership.
Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith is my guest. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. I mentioned the legislature not in session right now, breaking for August, but Washington, D.C. has not been quiet in the absence of you and all of your colleagues. The last few days have been really interesting to watch outside looking in. The meeting at the White House earlier this week with President Trump and President Zelensky and the leaders from Europe that were there, and that was on the heels of the meeting with President Putin in Alaska just a few days ago. From your perspective, as you watched that meeting unfold and you heard some of the things that were talked about, what was your takeaway?
Well, the thing I think that struck me the most is we have a president that is really intentionally motivated for world peace. The fact of how many people have been killed during these wars. And for literally 3.5 years, nothing was done, and that's when all the activity got created. But when the president, agreed to meet Putin in Alaska and the invitation there, it's just seeing those world leaders come together saying, we've got to come to some agreements, to some peace agreements, and then bring in the European folks into the White House, to Washington, D.C., in support of Ukraine. And, even Zelensky, as he left, he said this is a major step forward. And it's the president's leadership that has caused that, and I'm so impressed by that. I mean, they had 36 hours to get these leaders into the White House, into D.C., and, everybody was so willing to come together for the discussions. And I think as Zelensky said, it's a major step forward that we have got to make some strides there. And, of course, the president's been criticized for being with Vladimir Putin, for having the meeting, giving him the time. But, when we're trying to accomplish things and we're trying to get the big picture that is in a better position for the entire world, which obviously includes so many facets of the United States, it's really important to do that. So I don't listen to the criticism. I think he's doing the right thing, and I'm glad that it's happening. He told us before we went into recess, he said, I want you to go home and I want you to talk about the big, beautiful bill and, specifically how it delivers to our state, how it delivers for Mississippi. And it has been, we've got a website that's the easiest thing that Mississippi can go to, hydesmith.senate.gov, and clicking on that, and it's banner there, and it talks about the tax relief for families. It talks about how it affects Mississippi and what the stops the $1,570 tax hike for Mississippi households. The child tax credits are so important for those tax credits, and the higher standard deductions. The overtime is so big for Mississippi when there's no tax on overtime. I think of all of our companies out there that we have so many workers that try so hard, to make more for their family. And that's a pretty significant issue there. It's just so many things in it. The support for small businesses, the family farms. I say that we got a skinny farm bill in there because, we had to have 51 votes to pass that. And right. It included a lot of the core farm bill elements, updating things that would have been so hard to have updated when we had to have a 60 vote threshold. And, the stronger safety nets, the reference prices were updated. I was really excited about that part of the big, beautiful bill that not a lot of people talk about. And, of course, we still have the farm bill to address. But I think it's going to be a whole lot easier to get the farm bill passed now since we've got so many things in the big, beautiful bill that is going to be so productive, but it's going to be helpful in getting the farm bill passed.
So you do believe that becomes more of a priority for legislators getting that farm bill passed? I mean, you and I think every time we've talked a little bit about the farm bill and whether or not it gets to the finish line. Is there a chance that before the end of this session, this particular year, that there is a working farm bill?
There's a possibility of that. Like I said, the contentious things have been taken out. So when we meet and, we can agree on so many things, we're going to be in a much better position to go ahead and get that passed.
Certainly would be impressive to see a bipartisan bill passed that is good for so much of the country. We're going to take a quick time out. We will continue with Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith on the other side of this break, kind enough to spend a few minutes with us on this Wednesday morning. When we come back, we'll talk about recess appointments and the fact that those are not happening, why that was so important for the Senate and the leadership to have that in place, and also maybe a couple of other thoughts on the future of the negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. We're back with Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith in just a few minutes.
From the Seabrook Pain
segment of Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Grab another cup of coffee and start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk Mississippi.
Pleasure to be with you this morning. It is Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi, and my guest is Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith, who is in Mississippi for a few more days until she heads back for the fall portion of the legislative session in Washington, D.C. Senator, I'm genuinely curious about the concept of recess appointments. I think we all know how difficult it has been to get some of President Trump's nominees across the finish line. There was so much focus on the hearings with the cabinet level positions. And I think sometimes people forget how many more appointments have to be made by a president and how long it takes. And Democrats, we know, have been dragging that process out. I thought that there was an opportunity there for the president and the administration to get a bunch of the appointments done without some of the holdup in the Senate through recess appointments. Leadership, though, in both the Senate and the House said, no, we're not going to do recess appointments. We're going to gavel in with a skeleton crew so that we're technically in session as opposed to just gone, just away. Can you explain to me why that decision was made and what the significance of that is?
Oh, the recess appointments it was actually originated when Congress was out for months at a time. So, it was used at that time, and now we're in so much of the time it's really not necessary. But the president, if Congress does give him the power to do that, he can only nominate with the advice and consent of the Senate. But if we did give him the power to do that, the appointments would have to be confirmed by the Senate by the end of the next session anyway.
Okay.
That or the appointment expires. And, my understanding is they don't get paid until they're confirmed. And, it would have been nice to have gotten a lot of things across the finish line, but we would have still had to go through the process. And it was just the decision was made to stay at regular order. But, we've confirmed I guess as of July, the Senate has confirmed more than 135 civilian nominees. And then that was more than we got done in the first Trump administration by that time, in spite of, as you put it, the Democrats dragging their feet. So we've gotten a good bit done. We cast almost 500 votes so far this year, and that's more than any Congress, at this point in the last 35 years. So already more votes than in all but two of those in those entire years that we've gotten done. So the decision was just made to do that. And, a lot of the nominees, they don't want to sell their house and go ahead into the position, and they don't want to move if they're not confirmed by the Senate, which I understand that, true.
Right.
So we will have the pro forma sessions. I've got to fly up, I know, on a Tuesday to sit in on some of that, to sit in the chair for that to happen. Excuse me, I don't have a cough button.
Sorry about that. We need to send you one of those that you've got remotely.
Yeah. So, the decision was made to do that, but there's a lot of reasons why it is better to do it during the regular session.
That makes sense, and that answers some of the questions. I guess I didn't realize that the appointment or the confirmation still had to happen after the fact. Is there anything that happens behind the scenes that maybe we don't see that feels like it is actually bipartisan? I mean, we know, especially in the Senate, that historically, even though there was disagreement, ultimately legislation got moved along, and there was, from time to time, bipartisan legislation that both sides seem to get on board with. It just feels like we're in a time where if it comes out of the mouth of Donald Trump or a high-level leadership position in the Senate, then Democrats are against it. It doesn't matter if it's good legislation, bad legislation, or somewhere in between. Is there anything bipartisan that happens that maybe we don't see on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, I'm the subcommittee chairman on transportation, housing, and urban development, and the bill that we came up with was definitely bipartisan, and it came out of committee with a 27-1 vote. So, we do get things done because, as I say, sometimes just because they hate Donald Trump doesn't mean they hate me. And, we are very different in our votes, and, I stand very firm on a conservative position. But when you have to have 60 votes to get something out off the Senate floor, you obviously have to compromise. And, I just try to respect everybody that's on that Senate floor. But when you talk about true hatred, they truly do hate Donald Trump. So when it's in an executive position, that they can lash out and they can stop something against him, of course they're going to do it. But we do have to run the country. We do have to get these bills passed. We're going back to work on the appropriations bills. We've passed 3 individual bills before the August recess, and that's the first time since like 2018 we've done that. So, the Appropriations Committee, we've advanced 8 of the 12 bills already, and all of that had strong bipartisan support. The goal is to debate and pass more bills in September and hopefully get the Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development, which is reported out of the committee, as I said, but we've got to get it, over to the House side. And so, yes, there's more on a legislative branch that we do compromise and we do get across. But when it's heads up one-on-one with the Democrat and Donald Trump, it doesn't matter what he says, it is wrong. But one of the things that I do want to highlight is the Trump judicial nominees for Mississippi. We've got 2 nominated that the president nominated, Mississippi Supreme Court Justice, and that is Jimmy Maxwell, James Maxwell, and Bobby Chamberlain, whom I've served with in the Mississippi State Senate for the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Mississippi. Very well-qualified nominees, but, there's always a domino effect. When we get that done, now Governor Tate Reeves will appoint 2 state high court justices temporarily, then the special elections will be held. But I'm really excited about Jimmy Maxwell and Bobby Chamberlain. They both were on the Supreme Court. They both have really nice highlights behind them. They have great resumes. I've known them both for several years, so that is something that we did get done about a week or so ago, that we did get that out. And, I blocked a federal judge in North Mississippi on the Senate floor. I blocked. So that gave the president an opportunity to know that we've got 2 conservative judges that he was able to nominate. Of course, we've got to go through the process of confirmation for them, which, we look forward to doing that. But I just don't think that would be any problem. But it is pending Senate confirmation on both of those nominees.
I did a double take when I saw James Maxwell and Robert Chamberlain. I was like, that's Jimmy and Bobby, right? And so, yes, we are on the same page on that, and talked a lot about that last week when those appointments were made. It feels like big wins for Mississippi at the federal court level. I know you have a really good relationship with the president. I'm curious your thought on where we are today in terms of ruling by executive order versus being able to rule through legislation. And I know that 60 vote threshold that we were talking about just a little while ago is really, really difficult right now. What is your level of concern about executive orders kind of being the law of the land over the last few presidencies, honestly?
Well, I obviously have confidence in the president. I'm one that I like regular order. I like to go through the normal processes. And sometimes when you have a contentious atmosphere, that's just not possible. But there are some things that we have done that I guess I'm time limited here, that, we've worked through, not exactly through executive order, but just through the agencies and changing some protocols on things that needed to be done. So it's not always executive order that we can actually get a lot of things done. But I have confidence in him, and I do enjoy a very good relationship with him. It's kind of surreal at times that, I'm texting with the president on a Sunday night, or, he's calling saying, I need this, or, come over to the White House for dinner. But I enjoy that relationship with him. But, we have to keep him channeled too. And he listens. There's so many incredibly important things affecting Mississippi that it is certainly a benefit that I do have his ear. And I can go over and I can sit down in the Oval Office and say, let me explain to you the reason this position is this. And, I really think it puts us in a good position that when we have political things that come forward, even if it's getting relief for tornado victims that it took so long to get, even down in Walthall County, the things that are pertinent to our state, it sure is nice to be able to pick up the phone and call it.
Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith, always grateful for your time, always enjoy the conversation. Safe travels to you, and look forward to talking soon.
All right, thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. We'll visit again soon. That's Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith joining us this morning in the home state of Mississippi before she heads back to Washington, D.C. in just a few days. We'll continue with you after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi.
From the Venable Glass.
Take a deep dive into the news and debates driving the day. All on your ride to work. Mornings with Richard Cross. Super Talk Mississippi.
Well, I'm gonna raise a fuss, I'm gonna raise a holler about working all summer just to try and earn a dollar.
Got hard-hitting news for you here, Will. You ready?
Yeah.
Hard-hitting. Justin Herbert is the quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers. And anytime a single-ish quarterback in the NFL appears to potentially have some sort of dating or love interest, it's a big story. There is a pop singer named Madison Beer, an attractive young lady, and they were caught by the paparazzi, talking. And he was asked about it in a press conference, and his response was, yeah, well, she's just a friend I met. We play chess from time to time. That photo was taken at a chess tournament here in Los Angeles. The photo was on the set of a film that she was involved with. A chess tournament? That's a new one. Well done, Herb. Well done. Of course, Chargers fans are like, please don't go down this road. We've seen what happened to Travis Kelce. How bad is it for Democrats right now? How bad is it when Morning Joe Scarborough says it's bad? It's bad. Take a listen.
See, the Democrats are trying to find their footing, and it's quite embarrassing, actually. I mean, Gavin Newsom, have you seen what he's doing online? And just take a deep breath. Yeah. Don't try to turn the ship 180 degrees and one. They don't know what to do. I have a good idea. Instead of trying to make school Donald Trump, talk into the camera about affordability. Talk about making groceries more affordable. Talk about what you're going to do for housing. Talk about what you're going to do for energy prices that continue to go up. We heard the congressman yesterday talk about energy prices skyrocketing in New Jersey. Don't try. Yeah, as I've been saying, Donald Trump's not on the ballot in 26. He's not on the ballot in 28. Why try to drag Muhammad Ali in the ring when you got Chuck Wepner standing right in front of you?
That's Joe Scarborough on Morning Joe, soon to be of MS Now, as MSNBC is going away. Joe, let me help you out. There's a reason that they don't look into the calendar, look into the camera and say those things as I look into the camera. It's because they don't have a plan. There is no plan that Democrats have for making grocery prices lower, unless you're going with the Mamdani plan of let's just federalize grocery stores. There is no plan. There is no plan to make energy costs lower. In fact, it's the policies of Democrats that have made energy costs skyrocket. And oh, by the way, maybe it's rough in New Jersey. Pretty darn good right here in Mississippi. Gas about, $2 a gallon, $2.29 a gallon, $1. I don't even know what it is right now. Will, you might pull up the gas average for Mississippi. And
I filled up for $2.54 yesterday.
Okay, there you go. I mean, do we wish it was $1 a gallon? Sure. Oh, the days. Oh, the days from the late 1990s when you could fill up for $1 a gallon. Those are in the rearview mirror. They're not coming back. But $2.50 a gallon is not completely unreasonable. I'm sorry that your prices at the pump are $6 a gallon. Could it have anything to do with the Democrat leadership in your state or your city? Possibly. That's number one. And number two, they can't stop fighting Donald Trump because they can't get him out of their mind. Donald Trump lives rent-free in Democrat minds 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It doesn't matter that he's not on the ballot in 26. It doesn't matter that he's not on the ballot in 28. They can't get past that. And oh, by the way, it's quite embarrassing, actually. Gavin Newsom, you see what he's doing online, says Joe Scarborough. He's referring to the X posts in all caps where he's trying to be funny by mocking the way that Donald Trump tweets. When you have a one-of-a-kind, when you have an original, trying to replicate the original or even make fun of the original, it never works. That's why they're called an original. And Donald Trump is an original. His style is different, and it is a style that cannot be replicated. It is a style that will not be replicated by J.D. Vance. If he follows him, J.D. Vance is going to have to develop his own style. You can't replicate Donald Trump, and that's why Democrats cannot get him out of their mind. 7 o'clock hour in the books. Sid Salter will join me to start the 8 o'clock hour. We might get into some political stuff with Sid Salter, but also going to talk a lot about Mississippi State. New school year has begun in Starkville. Big announcement on the coast this coming year. What's going on in Starkville? Sid Salter will join us to start the 8 o'clock hour. It's Mornings with Richard Cross. Don't forget the C Spire text line is open to you, 601-879-4395. If you want to join the conversation, we are back right after the news.
From Duck Hill to Alligator, Mississippians start their day the right way. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Girl, you taught me how to hurt real bad and cry myself to sleep.
I mean, Will, you told me, no, we're not doing country music, but it's been all country music since then, and so I thank you.
Well, you inspired me.
Well, I appreciate that very much. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm and SuperTalk TV. Quick reminder before we jump in here with Sid Salter, the Not Fall Camp Tour rolls on today for its final stop. The team at Sports Talk Mississippi will be in Hattiesburg at Ed's Burger Joint this afternoon to talk all things Southern Miss. The Not Fall Camp Tour is presented by Pearl River Resort. Visit them online at pearlriverresort.com. It's your last chance to get some of the team-specific gear from Gentile. We've got some hats to give away and a bunch of prizes from our friends at Pearl River Resort to hand out. That's this afternoon from 3 until 7 at Ed's Burger Joint for the Not Fall Camp Tour. Sid Salter joins me now. And, Sid, we were in Starkville a week ago today, had a great turnout, and Zach Selman got some people to raise their eyebrows a little bit as Brian Haydad pushed a little bit on the interlocking MSU logo, and people are fired up. What a fun time of the year. The start of a new school year. There is energy on college campuses. I know you're feeling that energy in Starkville.
No doubt about it. Today's the first day of class after bid day yesterday on campus, which was a lot of excitement and sort of frantic last-minute jockeying for position there. But good things happening on our campus. Our leadership, Dr. Keenum, our research vice president, Dr. Julie Jordan, on the coast yesterday for the groundbreaking at the Mississippi Cyber and Technology Center, which is a game-changing step in Mississippi technology, 100,000 square foot facility at Keesler Air Force Base. And, cyber security has changed in terms of definition over the years. At one point, the focus was mostly for civilians on protecting your digital identity. But now cyber attacks by the tens of thousands are happening every day that not just attack our financial security, but attack national security, attack anything that operates out there on the grid, from traffic signals to drawbridges to anything. So we're in a position to work with the Mississippi Cyber Initiative in a leading role. Our Mississippi State Research and Technology Corporation will manage this new facility at Keesler. And the thing I tell people when we're asked about it is that we're going to be participating in the provision of cybersecurity operations for law enforcement, for the military, for cities, counties, and state government, and with the law enforcement community from the FBI on down. So this is a big deal for the state of Mississippi and certainly for Mississippi State University.
I'm fascinated at what I think I see as a trend at the higher education level. And you can call it a public-private partnership if you would like to. You can call it strategic relationships if that makes more sense. But universities partnering with specific industries to provide training, whether it is for a specific company or an industry. We saw it at Mississippi State when Nissan came online in Canton, and to a larger degree when Toyota came online in Blue Springs. Some of the specific automation programs within the engineering department at Mississippi State. We're seeing it here as we talk about cyber defense. Do you see that as a larger trend, that more universities are going to continue down this path moving forward, where they say, okay, we're going to put together a program that is industry specific so that we are placing people in jobs that are going to be readily available? Does the question that I'm asking make sense?
Of course it does. And while I can't answer the trends for higher education writ large, I can tell you that Mark Keenum has led us in a direction at Mississippi State of meeting our goal as the state's leading research university to take the lead in technology. It makes sense for us. We are, depending on what day it is, 4th or 5th in the country in supercomputing capacity at Mississippi State. And so we've been able to be involved with the data center. We had another announcement yesterday for Rankin County, $6 billion in a data center there, $10 billion in Madison County, $10 billion in Lauderdale County. Yeah. And so $26 billion just in the last 6 months in this state. And so we see our role as being a conduit into this economy. Not everybody is cut out to earn a 4-year traditional university education and degree. There are those who may not want to go that route, but they may want to get a certificate that enables them to take a job in industries like this. And we are positioning Mississippi State to take a leading role in certificate education. We're partnering with industry to help them do the workforce training necessary to open and successfully operate these industries in the state. And I think it is a tremendous partnership that makes sense, most of all for the taxpayers.
I pulled up the Bagley College of Engineering page as you were talking. You no doubt have heard the conversation about workforce development so much in the state of Mississippi. It's something the governor's focused on. It's something that Accelerate Mississippi is focused on, and we hear about jobs within the trades that are so readily available, so necessary, whether you're talking construction or electrical or plumbing or HVAC. And sometimes we don't necessarily associate some of those jobs with 4-year degrees. But when you combine the engineering focus, the business focus, it feels like there's some opportunities not just for jobs, but for incredible careers for people that have got a little bit of a business background that goes along with that. Is there a relationship between the business school and Bagley College of Engineering in terms of recognizing that those are jobs that are out there that are very high-paying jobs, and Mississippi State can kind of be a launch point for students in those areas?
Absolutely, and it's not just a business. All of our colleges are cooperating with each other to produce relevant programs for those who want to pursue the trades in the jobs market. I think the one that comes to mind most readily for us is in the College of Architecture, Art, and Design, where we have a very vibrant building trades and construction curriculum there, which produces people who can go to work for Yates, for Anderson, for any of the large construction companies around the country that manage construction with just-in-time technology and quick turnarounds on inventory, and so yes, there is a lot of synergy between business, engineering, architecture, all of our schools, even accounting, where we are partnering with business and industry to provide the educational opportunities they need to fill the jobs that help them to keep Mississippi's economy moving.
Visiting with Sid Salter. Sid has spent a lifetime in communications. I was trying to distill down what it is that you've done. And you've worked as a political analyst. You've worked in the newspaper business. You've worked in the radio business. You're now at Mississippi State with a fancy title, Vice President for Strategic Communications and Director of Public Affairs. And it's all about communication, right?
Well, I think more than anything else, like my boss, Mark Keenum, when you are able to move into a dream job and work at an institution that you're not only proud to work for, but that you love, it never really feels like work. And so I would tell the story of Mississippi State University to anybody I could stop to get to listen, because I really don't feel like there's a state in the union that needs a university more than Mississippi needs Mississippi State. And so I think what we do, how we do it, is vital to a state that we love as well.
A few more minutes with Sid Salter on the other side of this timeout. He will continue to tell the story of Mississippi State, and I can attest he will do that anytime he has the opportunity. More coming up with you. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi. We're back on the other side of this quick break.
From the Venable Glass Traffic
Mississippi, you're starting your day off right. Welcome to Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk Mississippi.
Sid Salter is my guest. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi. In a minute, I'm going to ask Sid to put his political pundit hat on and hit him with a couple of questions of things that are happening at the national level. But I would like to go back to the announcement yesterday from Keesler with the Cyber and Technology Center, this partnership that's going on. The military piece of this, the partnership with Keesler Air Base, the proximity, Mississippi State, frankly, all three of our major institutions in Mississippi, has been recognized consistently as being extremely military friendly on its Starkville campus. And I think in 2019 was recognized as the most military friendly school in the entire country, consistently in the top 10 in that. Does that tie in at all to the relationship with Keesler, with the Air Force Base, with the partnership that's happening, or is that coincidence?
No, it's not a coincidence. One of the leaders and prime movers in our Office of Research and Economic Development is retired Air Force Colonel Jim Martin, and the connections he brings. But we're trying to bake that relationship into the cake. So that we're able to meet the needs. The military across the state, be it the Mississippi Army and Air National Guard, be it the Keesler down on the coast, the Columbus Air Force Base, the Meridian Naval Air Station, all of these entities are important to the state. And then you know this, Richard, the military manufacturing in the state, Raytheon, others that are building substantial hardware for the military. So we realize what a vital part of Mississippi's economy this is, and we try to position our researchers and those who can participate in workforce training on a consistent basis. We're trying to position ourselves to meet that need. Because that is what drives communities across Mississippi, is to have opportunities to work in clean, well-paying industries, rather than do what we did in the 40s and 50s and, have people, it's good, honest work in, timber and lumber and, poultry and the things that Mississippi's really good at, but for the next generation of Mississippians, I think the goal all of us have is to give them more and better jobs in easier circumstances so that they can live the lives that parents and grandparents envision for them.
I know Mississippi State signs your paycheck, and your job is to talk about Mississippi State. I am curious about collaboration or partnerships, specifically with Southern Miss and Ole Miss. Southern Miss has been heavily involved with some maritime technology programs on the coast in the same neighborhood as where this new technology center is at Keesler. Obviously a rival on the courts and the fields with Ole Miss. But is there collaboration specifically between these three universities when it comes to academic pursuits and kind of a rising tide raises all boats philosophy?
No question about it. And Southern Mississippi is a vital partner in the Mississippi Cyber Initiative, and they are already well into performing their part of this, along with Mississippi Port Council, others. But the Mississippi Cyber Initiative does partner with several institutions. We're the lead institution, and we're proud of that. But we appreciate what Southern does. We work closely with Southern in other disciplines. Down, particularly on the coast, and obviously, the first ball game of the season, we're going to get after Southern Mississippi, and toward the end of the season, we're going to get after Ole Miss, and that means a lot to our fan base. But we have cooperative relationships with all the Mississippi institutions. Because at the end of the day, the IHL mission in Mississippi is to do exactly what you said, have a rising tide that lifts all boats, and to support Mississippi industry. But basically, higher education is about raising the standard of living in the state of Mississippi and contributing to the sort of global book of knowledge. And we've got folks at all of our institutions who are not only capable of doing that, but who are performing that. So it's an honor to send our students to University of Mississippi Medical Center. I think it would surprise a lot of folks to see the percentage of medical students who are coming out of Mississippi State and Southern and other institutions, and Ole Miss is very welcoming to them there, and it's a great relationship. Same thing, there are certain disciplines with Southern where we're able to work with them and with the regionals and the historically black colleges and universities. But once we get off the field or the court or the diamond, Mississippi's higher education system works together every day.
Still competitive, but does work together. That's I think it's good to hear. Good for all of us to hear that from time to time. With the time we got left, just a couple of minutes left. I would love for you to put on your political hat as a longtime political observer, someone who has covered politics both at the state level and the federal level in Washington D.C. How were you struck by the visual of Monday's meeting in Washington, where you have the President of the United States hosting, it was either 7 or 8 European leaders in the White House with what seemed like a unified message in terms of trying to bring an end to Ukraine and Russia and the conflict that they've been involved in for 3.5 years now. There are a lot of people that have covered it for a long time that used words like historic and things that we've never seen before. And I know sometimes that gets overplayed. How did it strike you as you watched that unfold?
It's hard to think about the scene in Washington without thinking first about the scene in Anchorage, Alaska. And so I think that Ukraine and the conflict there is complex in that the role of Russia on the world stage is diminished somewhat from what it was at my childhood, your childhood, and I think Russia struggles on many fronts with relevance because of the rise of China and India. And so I think Putin has a firm grasp on the world's attention right now, and I think he's reticent to let that go. Historically, there's always been the desire to encroach on as much of that part of the world as they can, and it's the world's breadbasket. It's not inconsequential real estate. So I think there was a great opportunity at the White House with the European leaders. I hope that opportunity can be seized upon to bring an end to the conflict and to bring stability to that part of the world.
It certainly was fascinating from an optical standpoint, not to mention the content of this. Sid, always appreciate your time. I know you love football season, just 10 days away. Hope it is a fun year for you and everybody associated with Mississippi State, and look forward to talking with you soon.
Appreciate it, Richard. Go Dogs.
Sid Salter from Mississippi State. He is the Director of Public Affairs and also Vice President for Strategic Communications. Works very closely, hand in hand, with President Mark Keenum on a daily basis, and a lot of good stuff. Will, I know we kind of went through this a second ago, but the public-private partnerships that we are seeing with universities, and I know this is not new. There have been research partnerships for a really long time. But we saw the news out of William Carey a couple of weeks ago about their partnering with Howard Industries to produce specific type graduates that were ready to go to work at Howard. Strikes me as a pretty creative way that the universities are addressing the needs, specifically in their home states. I think it's a good thing, and I think it's something we're going to continue to see growth in. Lindsey Graham preferring a stick to a carrot. We'll talk about that on the other side of this timeout. Mornings with Richard Cross SuperTalk Mississippi. Thanks for spending part of your day with us.
From the scene. What's being said in the halls of the Capitol? You're in the right place. Mornings with Richard Cross continues on Super Talk Mississippi.
They were farm kids way down in Dixie, met in high school in the 60s. Everyone knew it was love from the start. One July in the midnight hour, he climbed up on the water tower, stood on the rail and painted a 10-foot heart. And John Deere Green, on a hot summer night, he rode Billy Bob Love.
Glad to be with you. It is Mornings with Richard Cross. Sometimes you just need to let it play. Right?
Yeah, that's one of those.
I mean, you can't start talking before he actually says the words John Deere Green. Whole town said it would have looked good in red, but Charlene thought it looked just fine. Glad to be with you this morning. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi. We got a lot going on, and told you about the Not Fall Camp Tour that rolls on this afternoon in Hattiesburg. If you are in the Pine Belt region, we would love the chance to say hello. Come on and see us. Got some cool stuff to give away. We've got rounds of golf at Dancing Rabbit. We've got some hotel stays. We've got some dinner gift certificates for Philip M's. We have Genteel, Southern Miss, golf shirts, and hoodies. If you have not tried Genteel, what are you waiting for? It's great stuff. Will's not just a president; he's the member, or he's a member.
I own a lot of. It's most of my wardrobe now.
Yeah. But Sports Talk Mississippi will be on the road tomorrow as well at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College at the Dantzler Arena in Perkinston for Meet the Bulldogs Night. Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College has some incredible things happening. You'll hear about how they are making an impact in the state of Mississippi. Sad that I won't be there. That has been a delightful trip the last couple of years. That arena that's now just a little over 2 years old is spectacular. The entire staff at Mississippi Gulf Coast has been so incredibly welcoming. And man, they've got it going. They got it going on the field. They've got it going in the classroom. They've got it going on with some community partnerships. Just a lot of good happening at MGCC. MGCCC. A lot of C's. Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. Sports Talk Mississippi live there tomorrow afternoon. Lindsey Graham, some say he's a warmonger. In fact, lots of people say lots of things about Lindsey Graham. Thomas in Greenwood says, so what about Lindsey? Well, here's Lindsey. He is suggesting that the United States go after Moscow's war coffers with sanctions on China and any other nation doing business with Russia. So he recognizes that the president wants peace and that a peace deal must be signed. But Lindsey Graham is out of patience and he's out of cares to give. And his stance is forget about the carrot, get the stick. He said, you end the war and you end it now or this. He was on with Maria Bartiromo, Sunday Morning Futures on Fox News. My advice to President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio is you've got to convince Putin that if this war doesn't end justly and honorably, with Ukraine making concessions also, we're going to destroy the Russian economy. We have the ability to do it. I don't know if that is helpful for the president, for Lindsey Graham to go on television and say that. Certainly it is Lindsey Graham's right to say that. Graham is a co-sponsor of legislation in the Senate that would allow Trump to impose 500% tariffs on countries that purchase Russian oil. And at last check, there is bipartisan majority support in the Senate for this tactic. Will, you'll have to fact check me on this. I think Roger Wicker is a co-sponsor on this bill. That may not be right. I think it is. But, I mean, we talked about the Roger Wicker bloody their noses quote just a couple of days ago. The Senate is serious about this. They do not trust Vladimir Putin. And they think, and here's what we don't know. Is that overplaying your hand? It's clear that the sanctions that Trump threatened and was about to put in place are what got Vladimir Putin to the table. What caused him to get on a plane, fly halfway around the world to Alaska to meet on American soil with the president was not Donald Trump saying, come on, Vlad, don't you think you've killed enough? Don't you think the poor people of Ukraine deserve to stop having to fight? Don't you think enough of your people have died? It wasn't appealing to any sense of morality or any sense of compassion. It was appealing to the coffers of Russia. Trump in August slapped 50% tariffs on India, in part for its Russian oil purchases. Graham is co-sponsoring that legislation that we talked about. 500% tariffs. Graham went on to say, if we take it to the next level and tell China, you're next, then I think we can have an end to this war. The second most important person on the planet to end this war is President Xi in China. If he went to Putin and said, it's time to end this war, I can't help you anymore because you're putting my country at threat, this war would end.
And see, the Russian economy is actually hurting right now. It was pretty resilient. A lot of people thought that their economy would just collapse immediately after the war started, but it's kind of held on. They nationalized a bunch of companies, a bunch of international companies that were
as they are wont to do in Russia.
They tend to do that, but their interest rates are dropping, which means that they're trying to encourage any kind of investment that they can. I think it was Bloomberg the other day reported that they were seizing funds from, again, international companies that have, I guess, accounts in Russia where money was just sitting. Well, they just went and seized it. I think it was the tune of $50 billion. So their economy, it's been resilient, but now it's teetering a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to collapse tomorrow, but maybe that's the reason why Senator Graham is coming out with these comments now. I mean, you got shaky ground that you're standing on if you're in Russia, and now here comes Lindsey Graham, a hawk, saying, we will, quote, crush your economy if you don't agree.
Yeah. May I offer a book recommendation? Some of you like those from time to time. Bill Browder wrote a book called Red Notice. And it just kind of sparked my memory on this when when Will mentioned they've nationalized some countries. So Bill Browder was an American who went to school in the United States. His grandfather, maybe it was his father, was a communist in the United States. So he grew up strangely, got into finance, ended up working in Russia, and was wildly successful building hedge funds based on Russian business and the difference they saw in the value that was placed on those businesses in terms of where they were trading versus what they were actually worth. And like going in and buying stakes in those businesses, and I mean, was just crushing it. And the Russian government largely allowed that to continue until they got sideways with Bill Browder, recognized how much money he was making and some of the human rights stuff that he was advocating for. And then you got to see what it looks like when the Russian government clamps down. Really, really interesting story. It's called Red Notice, written by Bill Browder. It's one that was recommended to me, and once I started, couldn't put it down. Are we at the end of the road for the day? We are. When we come back, we'll wrap things up with you. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi, streaming online at supertalk.fm. We're back right after this.
From the Venable Glass
At the inside track on Mississippi politics. Yeah! Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
Wood cedes a point to me, and I think begrudgingly he's doing it right now on the C Spire text line. 601-879-4395. He says we have no bearing on Russia's economy with their relations with China and India, plus gas exports to the EU. What do we import from Russia besides vodka? I said, well, fertilizer, but also it's not about what we import. It's about secondary sanctions and tariffs. He says that only works if you implement them. We always push the deadline. We did not push the deadline on India. Going back to the conversation from, 20 minutes or so ago, 30 minutes ago, that was the tipping point, in my view, with Russia coming to the table in Alaska. There was real economic impact from telling India, we're popping a 50% tariff on you, and there are going to be secondary tariffs if you buy Russian oil. India and China are the two biggest purchasers of Russian oil. And if you believe the numbers and you believe what you read, India's not buying the Russian oil just for themselves. They're buying it on the cheap and then turning around and selling it at market prices. And reportedly, it made a $16 billion profit. I mean, like they're the oil middleman. It's a beautiful business.
Buy for $1 and sell for $2.
And we pulled out the Dikembe Mutombo finger and kind of wagged it at him. We're like, no, not going to happen anymore. So I got Thomas to LOL. He said, we can get fertilizer in Canada, I think. And I said, well, or you can just go to your local co-op. That's where my grandfather bought fertilizer. He gave me the LOL for that one. Let's see here. Get a message that says Xi is not in control of China at the moment. I said, not sure I follow. He said, geopolitics, Xi's about to be ousted. Their top general has taken over the military and surrounded Beijing. And with the military, the three internal factions are fighting over power. That's why Trump extended the tariff deadline. David, I'm just going to have to, at least for now, trust you on that. I will admit to not keeping up with the day-to-day inner political battles in China. And it's not that I'm not fascinated by it and that I don't think it plays a role in all of this. It's simply that I've only got so much bandwidth. I guess I was not aware that there was an internal. I thought she was pretty comfortable in China, but maybe not.
I think he's ousted. I think the opposite. I think he's ousted a couple of them.
Yeah,
but here's the thing.
But regardless, really well, that's you might be onto something there. But regardless, the deal here is, I mean, you do it with China, great. If you have to do it on your own, that's fine. The end game is stop the killing in the war between Russia and Ukraine. And we're invested enough at this point that you need it to stop. And there are a lot of reasons that you need it to stop. You need it to stop from a moral standpoint. You need it to stop from a political standpoint. You need to stop from an economic standpoint. And apparently there is a real possibility that the United States will be partnering with Ukraine on some pretty significant rare minerals deals that have a chance to be profitable for the United States. Are you going to make back the entire $300 billion you shipped to them? Probably not. But if there's a significant business partnership there you go. David Fisher Land Company is where I recommend you go if you are contemplating a land purchase or a land sale. I like doing business with people who have been in the business for a long time. Not saying that I'm against newcomers. I love new businesses. But if I'm investing money, I want to make sure that there's a track record. 4 decades in the exact same market qualifies as a track record. David Fisher Land Company, headquartered in Inverness, Mississippi. They operate in Mississippi, Arkansas, and Louisiana. Whether it is land financing, a purchase, using them as a brokerage, using them to try to find an equity stake in a hunting club, or you've got a land appraisal need, they do it all. And they have been for a long time. David, Jack, Travis, they would all love to help you out. Check out their website, davidfisherland.com. You can see the listings that they've got right now, or if you need to post a listing, go with a trusted, reliable, long-time in-the-business partner like David Fisher Land Company. Again, the website, davidfisherland.com. You can find them on Facebook as well, davidfisherland.com. Too much stuff, not enough time. That's where we are as we bring the program to a conclusion today. Good news, we got 3 more hours tomorrow morning, and we'll get right back to it. Thanks for all your interaction on the C Spire text line. Thank you, Will.
Yes, sir.
Hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget, Sports Talk Mississippi from Hattiesburg for the Not Fall Camp Tour presented by Pearl River Resort starting at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Have a spectacular Wednesday.
A SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.